moving on to our next speaker, he is Helmut Hiess, who is Managing Director at Rosinak Partners, and is also going to talk about, or is from the TIPS project as well. So Helmut, over to you.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon from my side as well. I will continue with the topic of governance, but with governance of territorial policies at the European level. We prepared, on behalf of the Austrian presidency, a DG seminar. It was called Future Options and Perspectives for the Post-2020 Governance of Territorial Policies in general and the Territorial Agenda in particular. It was 1 month ago at the same place here in this room. Yes, on the same stage. I would like to share with you my impressions and my conclusions out from this task. I will offer more an outside perspective, as we are usually not so much involved in territorial policies at the European level, but more on the ground, for example, by supporting the implementation of territorial tools of the EASY funds, like LEADER, agglomeration strategies within urban earmarking, and so on. So what have been my learnings about governance, about the governance system of territorial policies at the European level? From me, with this approach from outside, the landscape of territorial policies at the European level is quite manifold and complex, in particular if you are not an insider. It has been developed step by step over the last decades, consists of different elements and rely on soft policies like the Territorial Agenda, the Urban Agenda, or the macro-regional strategies. But the relevant policies producing spatial impacts are I call them hard sectoral and funding policies. There is no competence for territorial policies at the European level, as you all know. So place-based policies at the European level are dependent on place-based approaches within sectoral and funding policies. But these policies often are spatially blind, as we all know. The only way to strengthen place-based approaches within sectoral and funding policies is to influence their performance by soft policies. For me, soft policies seem to be the key to trigger place-based approaches at the European level. But soft policies are based on cooperation and collaboration at the same eye level, and they need elaborated, innovative governance mechanism. Macro-regional strategies and the urban agenda open the floor for such new approaches. But these governance mechanisms, let's say, take place in a parallel world to the traditional system of government and administration. They have the character of add-ons beside the administrative routines, but mostly without sufficient personnel, financial, and organizational resources. In such governance systems, hierarchy doesn't work. It needs a lot of experience, management know-how to moderate groups, organize participation, design large-scale events, and ensure cooperation. In one word, highly professional requirements. If such experimental approaches succeed at the end in producing results, the traditional systems of government and administration is, let's say, sometimes overstrained to digest the outcomes, which from my point of view came clearly out at the DG seminar. there seem to be serious bottlenecks to take up the results and to integrate them in the routines of the policy and administration system. Such new experimental governance systems are, from my point of view, in a trap between high expectations and insufficient resources, additional engagement of all which are participating in such partnerships beyond their daily routines, and insufficient taking up of the recommendations, proposals, or results. My impression of the DG seminar was that everybody knows that there is a need for something which goes beyond the routines and the ongoing practice, but the experimental stage of soft policies overburdens the system in the long run. This leads to hesitation to support and extend the approaches due to capacity restraints. The result is what we have at the moment, in particular as regards the territorial agenda, something in between. It costs resources, but not too much, because it doesn't lead to serious consequences. So my conclusion is that the soft policy approach, based on cooperation and collaboration, implemented by innovative governance mechanism, should be more established as integrated part of the government and administration system, and not stay as an exotic alien, but as accepted part of the policy system, equipped with clear owner and leadership, personal, financial, and knowledge resources, and mechanism of the integration of the outcomes of such policy systems. The discussion of post-2020 might be the opportunity to decide if the European Union should scale up the place-based approaches and the governance system of territorial policies at the European level, or to scale down to a system of providing maybe research results like the products of ESPON for everybody to whom it may concern. To stay in between is a frustrating position from my perspective. Thank you.
Okay, excellent. Thank you very much indeed.